guys, and welcome to my review of One Piece chapter 834. And this chapter had like a bunch of storylines just crammed in there, and it wasn't even that chaotic, and it kind of worked. So yeah, let's get into it. We start off with Sanji, kind of where we left off last week, with him having the wristlet slave bomb things on him, and he obviously starts complaining and triggers like the ding 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 sound that starts just before they explode. So Rachel's like, just stop struggling or like they'll explode. And I find it really interesting that we have like this one panel of Rachel in like the flashback colors. We also have it of Papa Bean Smoke, but Rachel has this really like sweet smile, and the colors on her just makes her look so evil and like she's planning something. Like, I don't trust her at all. Like, I don't know. I just don't know. She just seems like she's up to no good. You know that? You know what I mean? Yeah. Right. Okay. But we have like Sanji, he standing on what it's like a balcony or something, and he looks at his hands, and he has this flashback of Seth just like slamming it into his head that his hands are precious and he should not use them to fight with, and he kind of bandages them because he has hurt himself. And we just see Sanji being super frustrated, and it's so sad. Like, Sanji always says how much his hands mean to him, and that's why he doesn't fight using them, and now he's just, because of that, he's enslaved. And there, I'm looking at it right now, we have that one panel where he's just like tugging at his hair and looking down and then just screams. And that's such a powerful moment, and I hope the anime does this justice, because that'll be so amazing to see it animated and with Sanji's voice actor and all that. But yeah, we jump to the next storyline, which is Pedro and Brook. And I did not expect us to see them this soon. I don't know about you, but I really thought that they would be like out of the story for at least like 10 chapters or something. But yeah, we get to see them, and we start off basically with just them listening into a bunch of people talking shit about Jinbei. And for Pedro, it's not really important because he doesn't really know Jinbei. I don't think they've ever met. Why should they have? But of course Brook knows him, and Jinbei is supposed to join, so he's like, well, this is really bad, and Jinbei is an important person to us, so it's kind of sad to hear all this shit talking going on. But they find Pudding, and this is curious to them because they know that she was supposed to meet Luffy and the others by the shore, and they also know that Luffy thought that he saw Pudding and Sanji on the shore, and of course we know now that it was Brulee's, possibly Brulee's devil fruit power, but now they know too, and they also find out that, that basically Big Mom knows that they are there, that Peckhams was with them when they came, but not when they left Chocolate Town, and basically they just find out that they are screwed. And like, not a bunch happens with this storyline, except that it sets up Brook and Pedro as some sort of like, I don't know if I'm gonna call it the perfect infiltration, because it doesn't seem like they know that they are there yet, but it could also just set them up for being followed. So because Big Mom and her subordinates know that they are there, they might just as well know that Brook and Peckhams have left to find the poneglyph, because Tamako even says that he kind of thinks he knows what Pedro is doing, and since Pedro once before tried to get Big Mom's poneglyph, it might be that he's like, okay, so Pedro once before said that he wanted the poneglyph, and now he's back again, so that might be why they're here, because they know that everyone who wants the One Piece needs all of the rogue poneglyphs, so yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about Pudding, but yeah, we see Pudding, and she's very eager to get out of this dress situation that she is in right now, which kind of makes her seem like she's actually a nice person, because obviously this business that she wants to attend to is meeting Luffy and the others. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to seem like. So I am doubting now that she's evil, but who knows? I still don't trust her. I don't know. I feel like I really might be wrong about this now, but yeah, let's see. She also, she could be used, like, because they know that they are in the seducing woods, so they might have, like, known what Pudding's character is like, or, like, her personality, so they might just, like, okay, she met up with them and she's trying to help them, and she will send them to the seducing woods because there is no surveillance there, so it would be the obvious place for her to lead them. And if Pudding was gonna meet them there, she could, like, safely guide them through the woods or around the woods or whatever. So yeah, it could either be Pudding's doing that they are in seducing woods and she planned it all along, or someone could be using her. Or it's just a coincidence, but at this point I don't believe in coincidences, so yeah. We also get a little hint of a Peckham's and Tamago storyline, because Tamago in this chapter is like, he wanted Peckham's to be forgiven, but now he has joined with the Straw Hats and all that, so he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I feel like this might come into play and be really important, because I feel like Peckham's will end up as an ally. But Tamago is kind of like in a gray zone, and I think whether he decides to stay on Big Mom's side or just help his friend out this one time, that will probably decide what is going to happen with the Big Mom conflict. Because at this point we have so many players, yet we have so few Straw Hats. We need more people to ally themselves with the Straw Hats for them to be able to make it out of this, because they have both Big Mom, who has this gigantic family backing her, and they have the Vinsmokes and literally their entire nation there. So they need more people to fight for them, or at least a bunch of chaos, which I think is what Capone will bring, because we then cut to Capone, who is revealed to have a son with the little lookalike, whose name is Chiffon, yeah? And the boy's name is Pets, which is really an ugly name. I'm sorry if you're called Pets, but I don't like that name. But yeah, we see him, and he has the... Of course, he's now allied with Big Mom through marriage, but he says a bunch of things that kind of make me doubt his motives, because, okay, he is, of course, one of the 11 supernovas, and I feel like for all of the supernovas, they don't strike me as the kind of people who would willingly work for other people unless they have some sort of motive. For example, in Law's case, he became a Shichibukai so that he could, like, kind of do whatever the fuck he wanted. But in the end, it was all just a plot to take down Doflamingo, and now, of course, he's not a Shichibukai anymore, and he doesn't really care. Drake, who has allied himself or is working for Kaido, we don't know what his conditions are, but I'm pretty sure that he won't end up fighting for Kaido. The same with Apu, who is pretty much also working for Kaido, we think. Almost confirmed, right? Either he's just very afraid of dying, or there's something going on there. But yeah, Capone. Basically, he has captured Peckham's, I don't know if I said that. And they talk a little bit back and forth about why it was a good thing that Capone tried to kill him, because why wouldn't you want to be killed? And then Peckham's, they talk a lot, and Peckham says this really interesting thing right before Capone shoots him, and he says, let me just find the page. Underestimating Mama will be your downfall. That's what he says. And that makes me feel like Capone is trying to do something, and maybe also the reason why he wants Peckham's gone so badly is because Peckham's knows that Capone is not actually fighting for Big Mom. And I mean that we know he is married to one of her daughters, but we also know from, like, the Aladdin and what was her name, Praline marriage thing, that the daughters not necessarily love their mother more than they love their husbands. Because Praline said that whatever Aladdin did, she would be on board with it. Like, she didn't care. And I think, like, this Chiffon girl may be the same person, or the same, like, sort of person, so she's more likely to go with Capone rather than with her mother because of whatever reason. Maybe because they have a child together. I mean, I don't find Capone that lovable of a person, so yeah. Either way, we go to the next storyline, which is the Caesar Clown storyline, and I swear to God, this was actually really funny, just because of all of Caesar's facial expressions. But basically we find out that Caesar was researching how to make people giants because Big Mom wanted to be able to gigantify, is that how you say it, all of her family members, because obviously she's a giant person and her like daughters and sons and husbands are not. So she would like for them to be at eye level whenever they like eat together and they are together and stuff like that. I don't know why she wants that, but I mean, she's insane, so and basically Caesar has found out that this is in fact impossible. He had been able to do it with the children, but it had a bunch of side effects, as we know from Punkazard, and he could only do it with like children or something. That's what I remember from that arc anyway. But yeah, Caesar is just like, well, you know, the reason why I haven't succeeded yet, because I had succeeded, but I can't really do anything because Straw Hat and Trafalgar Law kind of ruined all of my things and stuff like that, so, you know, it's not my fault, and I can't do it again because they destroyed my laboratory, so yeah, that kind of sucks. And just as you think he might be saved from all of this horrible shit that is going on, Big Mom is like, you don't have to worry about that, I've got the money, I've remade the laboratory you worked in, it's all gonna be fine. So how can you make the drug? How long will it take for you to make the drug? And Caesar's just like, well, I can do that in 1 or 2 weeks, so yeah, that's fine. So now, basically, Caesar has 2 weeks to live in unless he figures something out. But the person who has made the laboratory that he now works in is, in fact, the eldest son of the Charlotte family, so we're well up in the hierarchy now. And his name is Charlotte Peros Pero. And apparently he ate the lick fruit, which is a weird fruit that I can't figure out how works. It's like, is it that he licks things and then it's like glue, or can he lick people and do something to them, or can he, I don't know. I don't know what the lick fruit entails, but I'm thinking that's something with gluing stuff together. We also see that he has Caesar's heart, because Sanchi gave it to Vito a few chapters ago. Which is nice. I think that was a really dumb move from Sanchi's side. But then again, I don't think Sanchi really gives a fuck about Caesar anymore, so but at this point I think it's pretty obvious that Caesar will somehow be like help them to escape from this situation, because he needs help himself, so he would be pretty willing to help the Straw Hats if they could save him. Kind of like how Bucky helped Luffy back in Impel Down because he thought that Luffy could help him escape, yet he just ended up going deeper and deeper down. Yeah. And then we cut to Luffy. And apparently now it's nighttime, which is interesting because we know that the next day should be when Ichiji and Nichi are gonna arrive, because they said that it would be 2 days from Broccoli Island to Whole Cake Island, and there has been 2 nights in between now, so they are arriving soon, and I'm really interested in seeing more interactions between the Bean Smokes. But that's not important right now. We see Luffy basically being tired because he is repeating some sort of process over and over again, and we see him carrying kind of these like shaded figures to the apple juice guy, who's as ridiculous as ever, and I'm still trying to figure out what his like deal is. But we see that Luffy has gathered a bunch of Straw Hat and Pudding duplicates. So we have like double of everyone and extra Pudding and Sanji. It's kind of ironic how Luffy is kind of carrying Pudding and Sanji since they are engaged, but it has to be the work of Brulee's Devil Fruit power, right? Because she did the fake Luffy, so obviously this is also her power. But is it because people are saying like the reflection power, the mirror power, but how does that allow her to make clones? Couldn't it be just be the clone power or something? But that, I mean, she also turned herself into Luffy. But yeah, basically in this chapter we just jump all over the place, but as I said in the beginning, it was somehow not confusing or chaotic. It kind of worked somehow, because we did sort of end of all the storylines or start all the storylines. Not definitely, but kind of like temporarily. So with Sanji we had like the end of his meeting with his father and the finalization of him being a prisoner and a slave. With Brook and Pedro we kind of had like a glimpse into what is happening with Jinbei, and they kind of summed up everything that we know and gave that knowledge to Brook and Pedro, which is interesting because now they're kind of like the eyes and ears of everything, yet they have no way of communicating with the other Straw Hat members, I think. So they are very much aware of their situation right now, which could prove very vital later down the road. But I'm really interested in seeing what they're gonna do, because I feel like getting to the poneglyph and kind of taking the copy of it, that's not that big of a deal. Of course it's a big deal, but like in the overall story that's not a lot to do. So they will have to, Oda will have to find some way to incorporate them further into the story, and I think that's kind of what the Pedro side story will lead to, as well as whatever the hell Brook knows about the Beansmokes, because he still has not told us everything. We also set up the Capone stuff with him shooting Peckhams twice now, and trying to kill him again. I'm really struggling to see how Peckhams is gonna get out of this alive, because he's a chained Delphiid user in the water where sharks are trying to eat him, but he's probably gonna survive. I mean, this is One Piece, so I don't expect him to die. But yeah, I'm really wondering what Capone is up to. Like, obviously, I don't think he's like trying to kill Big Mom, because I don't think he's that stupid, but he's up to something. Caesar is a mystery for me, because he's there and he's part of the story, yet he's not all that relevant. He keeps being portrayed as being relevant, like when in the Doflamingo stuff, he was there so they could like use him as a hostage, yet he ended up just kind of being a burden. He didn't do shit. And I feel like it's the same now. He's just there to create trouble. But then again, he has just gotten a lab and he can kind of do whatever the hell he wants in this lab, and I feel like he might try to make some sort of weapon that will help them in the end. But of course he needs friends to help him, or Straw Hats. And yeah, the Luffy thing was kind of the weakest point of all this, but of course it was only one chapter, and like, okay, so Oda is stalling him again, obviously, because if Luffy just barges in there and saves Sanji, we don't really have a story. But all of these Straw Hat lookalikes, what's the point of them? Because Luffy has basically just like tied them up and put them all in a, like in a, what's it called? Put them all on each other. I don't even know what that's called in English. What? Put them all in a pile, that's what I want to say. I don't know how to speak. But yeah, it's weird. We're probably gonna see Luffy a lot more next chapter, because I feel like we're just gonna start off with him since we now ended with him and we haven't seen him for a while. But yeah, I don't know where Luffy's storyline is going. I don't know what's up with the Apple Juice guy. I don't know what's up with the duplicates. I don't know what has happened to Nami and Carrot and Chopper. Like, they were captured and now it's nighttime. What happened? Who knows? They're not at the Apple Juice guy anymore. The Apple Juice guy might even know what happened since he was there. I don't know. But yeah, I think that was what I had to say. I rambled a lot in the end there. But yeah, if you liked anything that I had to say, please leave a thumbs up and leave in the comments below what you thought of the chapter and what you think of all the different storylines. Just give it to me. Tell me what you think. And yeah, subscribe if you want to see more of me. I also do reviews of Haikyuu and Shokugeki no Soma, and they should be up later tonight. So yeah, bye!